Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, grandparenting has changed. Meet the new Dr. Spock to find out how. Then we'll discover that life in a retirement village can be anything but retiring. Our teeth aren't immune to aging. We'll fill you in on how to turn back the clock. Plus, is the answer to our energy problems blowing in the wind? We'll ask our guest. And we'll reveal a shameful secret about Social Security.
It's time to get geoing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Way back in the late 20th century, when parents needed advice on raising their bundles of joy, they turned to Dr. Benjamin Spock. But who can fill those big shoes in today's complex world, especially when so many grandparents are now lending a hand? It is Dr. Robert Needleman. He's also revised the last two editions of Dr. Spock's various baby and child care books, and he's here to help grandparents be great. Dr. Needleman is a developmental behavioral pediatrician with Metro Health. Welcome to the show. It's very interesting to have you.
Yeah.
So how did you come to become Dr. Spock?
Dr. Spock's widow, who was his writing partner for 35 years, asked me.
Oh,
and I said yes.
How did she get to know you?
She got to know me because a former student of mine worked with Spock for a while and asked me to come and write a Dr. Spock website, which I did for a number of years.
Okay.
So
she got to meet you and thought you were a good guy. So.
Yeah.
I bet that many grandparents and parents raise their children with Dr. Spock's old books. You know?
Yeah.
Things have changed so much. And there's a big difference now, I think, in grandparenting with grandchildren. A lot of grandparents are taking care of grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you update, give me some insight into what's happening in today's?
Yeah, there are grandparents who are taking an active role because they want to, and that's wonderful, and there are lots of opportunities for grandparents to really play a marvelous role for their kids and for their grandkids. And then there are many grandparents who are doing that because they have to. That's a little tougher, but even then they find great satisfaction.
Okay, but they can't necessarily rely on the old books.
Well, the old books are now 65 years old.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed. Spock revised them year after year.
Okay.
So I'm just the last in a long line of pediatricians who've been contributing and revising. And of course, the stuff that hasn't changed is the absolute core message that parents really do know what to do. Their hearts tell them the right thing.
And sometimes there's conflicts, though. I know parents want to do things their way, grandparents had a different way. What do you do when there's some conflict going on?
Yeah, so for both parents and grandparents, I think a good piece of advice is to take care of the relationship. Most of the issues that people argue about just aren't worth it when it comes right down to it, right?
Yeah,
so you got to ask yourself, is it really worth it? If it's really worth it, then
just
you
like
have to
dealing with
go
the
to
kids is a battle worth having.
That's right. So most of the time, grandparents are, better advised to say, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but you know what? You guys are the parents. And most of the time, the parents are better advised to say, listen, that's not my way to do it, but if you want to do that, well, little Susie or little Johnny is with you. That's fine.
So they come to a consensus.
An extra cookie is not going to kill them.
That's probably true, yeah.
And then every once in a while there are real conflicts, and then you have to work it out.
Okay. Now, grandparents, though, whether they're full-time caregivers or not, do play a really important role.
Oh, very important
what kind of role should they continue to play?
I think in the old days, and in many other parts of the world, we have parents and grandparents living in the same house, really contributing in an organic way. And then just in the last, maybe 40, 50 years in this country, parents have been separated from their grandparents. So you go to visit them, once a year or twice a year, which is really not the usual way. So now, more and more, grandparents and parents are a team. And the grandparents bring knowledge of the past. They bring traditions. They bring richness. They're the guys who know how to make the cake that tastes exactly right, and what do you do on Christmas, or what do you do at another, holiday. And then the parents are the ones with the energy. They're going to be the ones running off to the park. Sometimes young grandparents have that too. So.
And I understand, I wish we could talk more about it. You've got a book coming out for grandparents, so we're going to look for that.
I hope so.
So you never really outgrow parenting. It just grows into grandparenting for grand advice. Make an appointment to read Dr. Spock's book, and thanks to the new Dr. Spock, Dr. Robert Needleman.
My pleasure.
To find out more about Metro Health and the new Dr. Spock, call 216-728-2222 or visit www.metrohealth.org/pediatrics. Next, feeling right at home. But first, remember the Marx Brothers? Raucous Chico, Groucho, Gumo, Zeppo, and the man of few words, Harpo. Though Harpo's lips were sealed on screen, he had a lot to say in his autobiography. Can you tell us the title of this tell-all? We won't tattle until we return.
Good Neighbor Pharmacy locations accept your Express Scripts and TRICARE benefits. If you're an Express Scripts or TRICARE beneficiary, contact us today to transfer your prescriptions. You'll be happy you did. Find the store nearest you at goodneighborpharmacy.com.
In Cleveland, go to Church Square Pharmacy, Clark Low Cost Pharmacy, Lutheran Family Pharmacy, or Shalega Drug. For more information, go to goodneighborpharmacy.com. Good Neighbor Pharmacy, the best medicine for your health.
On screen, he was known as the silent Marx Brother, but he was certainly outspoken in his 1985 autobiography called Harpo Speaks.
After much thought, you've decided to move to a retirement community. But suddenly you look around the house and realize you've accumulated decades of stuff that you're not quite sure how to get rid of. And what about pricing your home right so it will sell in today's market? I'm happy to tell you don't have to face this task alone. There is help available. Jan Pemberton, lifestyle consultant at Breckenridge Village Retirement Community, is here to help. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, moving can be overwhelming, especially for older folks. So where do you start?
Well, actually, Lori, most people that I work with do have a home or a condo to sell. And typically they've been in it decades, truly decades. And they look at the tasks that they're faced with in order to put that home on the market, and it is overwhelming. So at Breckenridge, as part of our mission, we actually provide free of charge 2 seminars each quarter for individuals who are looking to sell. The first one is on right sizing, and the second one is on first one's on right sizing, second one is on home sales. But my 20 years of experience in the business have provided me with a lot of insight into the tools that it takes to make your home sale a reality.
All right, well, sounds good. First, we have to get the house ready. So what kind of specific tips do you give people?
They need to right size, also known as decluttering. So it's important that you look at the items and say, these are the items that I needed at one time in my life, but not now. And you need to fit your belongings to meet your life that you're looking to have when you make your move happen. So we actually have at our seminar people come in who are professionals in the business that take care of every aspect of the downsizing process. From liquidators who'll come in and talk to you about what to do with your items, maybe your grandmother's silver that surprisingly you find out your grandchildren aren't going to take. They aren't interested in polishing that anymore. So they're saying, I'm not taking that. So what to do with that valuable silver? So we have liquidators. We have people from storage companies. There may be items you're having problems letting go of. So there's a lot of storage options out there. So maybe you want to put that in a storage for yourself until you decide whether you can get rid of it or not, whether you can just stand apart with it.
Okay, once you've decluttered or right size as you call it, you have to sell your house. So what do you do?
You need to tour it objectively. You need to look at it through a buyer's eyes, fix, replace, or repair items, and depersonalize. You need to take down all those pictures. Someone shouldn't walk through your house who's looking at buying it and walk out saying, wow, didn't they have lovely grandchildren, but not know what color the carpet was. So you need to depersonalize. Curb appeal, staging is so very important. At Breckenridge, we actually have a certified stager, and she will go into our applicants' homes and help them prepare their home so it's appealing to buyers.
Make it look just right.
Absolutely.
So now you've gotten rid of the stuff, it's ready to go. How do you choose a realtor?
Interview realtors. That's so very important. Often I hear from people that have their home listed for a long period of time that they haven't had feedback, they haven't had people come through. So you need to make sure your realtor is familiar with your area. At Breckenridge, we've done the homework for our applicants. We've interviewed literally dozens of realtors, and we have actually a realtor initiative. We have a group that has agreed to adhere to certain guidelines, and so we give out those names to our prospects, our applicants.
Very good.
It is.
And it sounds like the program's been successful, and you have some seminar information to share with our viewers.
Actually, it has been incredibly successful. Our stager, actually the last 3 homes that she staged actually sold in less than a month.
That's
and,
amazing.
Yes. And our next seminar is coming up on May 10th. That'll be right sizing, followed by the home sale seminar on May the 22nd.
Okay, what time are the seminars?
1 o'clock. People do need to make reservations. And
Okay.
I personally put my expertise to play in the last year. Last year I had a home to sell. My husband and I did everything to a T that we teach. Listed the home on March 13th, signed the purchase agreement on April 20th.
That is a really short time in
Yes.
this market. so.
Similar homes have sold in 393 days and won 461. Our people who attend the seminars and put the pieces in place, we've seen remarkable success in today's competitive market.
That's fantastic. And that information can get you motivated when the move is easier because they're going to help you get the right plan of action. My thanks to Jan Pemberton for helping us sort out ideas for making a successful move.
Learn more by calling Breckenridge Village at 440-942-4342 or log on to www.breckenridgeohio.org. Next, our advice is a mouthful. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. Before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions roll into town in April, take note of the musical pioneers that made Cleveland rock. Deanna Adams, author of Rock and Roll and the Cleveland Connection, will tune you into these maverick musicians Tuesday, March 13th at 7 p.m. at the Independence Library. Here's the ticket to securing your seat. Just call 216-447-0160.
When Shakespeare wrote Beware the Ides of March, he was warning Julius Caesar, title character of the play, that disaster was days away. Today, on March 11th, we have the Eyes of Marsh. Steve Marsh is here to warn us of the dangers our teeth face as the years pass by. But he's also prepared to help us write a happy ending instead.
It'd be my pleasure today.
All right, so I know you're talented. So can you see into our futures and tell us what's going to happen with our teeth?
Well, thank you, but you don't need a crystal ball to see what's coming in the future with teeth. I was thinking about the average age of a golden opportunity viewer. It might be 40s, 50s, 60s. Well, if you're 66, for example, imagine your first teeth came in when you were permanent teeth at age 6, your lower fronts and back molars. So those teeth have already been in your mouth 60 years. Well, many years. So in 60 years, you've eaten a lot of meals and you've worn your teeth, and that's one of the biggest problems we have is wearing teeth down. And again, it's just normal wear and tear over age.
Okay.
And we actually have a picture of a patient who just sort of displays that. She came into me, and again, her teeth had darkened, they'd stained, but she had also worn down those lowers quite a bit. The upper teeth had worn just over a number of years, and we restored that with porcelain veneers to give her the smile back that she said she had when she was much younger. And in fact, when she was much younger, she said her teeth were longer, whiter, and she actually brought in a picture of herself years ago so that we were able to sort of duplicate
Really
what she had.
see what it used to be like. Amazing
Sure.
how things can change over that
Absolutely.
time period. Do things like fillings add to the wear and tear on teeth?
Yeah, because if when a filling's done, if it's not built to the normal height, the height that should have been done, the teeth next to them will wear. Teeth are like gears, so if things, whether it's fillings or crowns or that sort of thing, have worn out or not filled appropriately, you can sometimes get some wear and tear that
Oh,
way.
you have some pictures that will show that for us?
Absolutely. Here's a picture of a patient who has a number of fillings in the back. That combined with the fact that he ground his teeth during the day, which is another habit that sometimes plays a role, he's actually worn down the incisals or the edges of the upper front teeth. And if you look down, you can see that he's worn almost 2 to 3 millimeters, about 1/4 of an inch of his teeth away. what we were able to do is we used crowns in the back to build his bite up to what it used to be before he had those fillings. And then in the front where that wear and tear had taken place, we did porcelain veneers, and then also made him a soft guard so he would protect the teeth.
And you talked about sleep apnea, which is a common problem for people as they age.
It's huge. And this is a patient with an absolutely drastic case. He came to me, he had actually worn the teeth down. This is looking up at his upper teeth, down into the nerve. We were able to save those teeth. They actually had root canals and posts and were built up with crowns and veneers, and we were able to bring him back. Now, sleep apnea occurs, and there he is from the front. Almost the most dramatic case that I've ever treated.
Yeah, very different there.
Yeah, and again, crowns in the back, veneers in the front. Sleep apnea often occurs when the patient gets sort of larger, and what happens is the airway closes down a little. Today we'll use sometimes this apparatus. It's called the snore guard. This is a very simple one, and what it does is it's custom made, but it separates the teeth so that at night when they're looking for air, they don't grind their teeth. And in fact, that's what happened to this last patient that you had seen. So there are ways to take care of some of the wear and tear. Okay. And lastly, and this is a big problem, this is a woman who took care of her kids very well and always sort of denied her self-care. And she had a lot of decay. Some of the teeth had moved, and one of the things we sometimes see is teeth loss because of decay and also periodontal disease. She lost some teeth from both. During treatment, what we had to do is we had to have those upper teeth removed, but she wanted something very permanent. And again, this can happen as we get older. And there she is at the day we just put in, those are provisionals, temporaries, to put in a temporary bridge, and that allowed us to rebuild what she had lost. The key is to not to get into that position where you've lost teeth from decay.
Prevent it from happening.
And again,
build it up again.
She cared about her kids first, and then it was her turn. And that happens with a lot of patients, but fortunately in today's dentistry we can help them out.
That's great. So thanks to the eyes of Marsh, we can see how to preserve and revive our smiles. To see for yourself, give Steve a call. His number is coming up next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, the winds of change.
It's time to get up and go. An exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, I'm Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to do a proper abdominal crunch. You ready to go?
I'll give it a whirl.
All right, we got our mats out. We're going to lay on the ground, flat on our back. You want your feet at an angle, so your feet are flat on the floor here. Excellent. Now what we're going to do, you can either cross your chest or place your hands behind your forehead. But the key here is we want to keep our chin up so our spine stays in alignment. So place your hands on your forehead, chin up, and bring your shoulder blades off the ground. Relax, let them touch. Squeeze the abdominals, crunching them together, and back down, up and down. How you feeling?
What?
All right. All right, everybody, 3 or 4 sets of these, 15 to 20 repetitions, and you'll be good to go. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
Is wind the way to enhance our economy? Does it have the power to solve our energy issues? Or is that talk all just a whole lot of hot air? Dr. Lori Wagner believes wind energy could help revitalize our region and protect our environment. And he's here to tell us why. Dr. Wagner is the president of the Lake Erie Energy Development Corporation, and he's also a member of the Great Lakes Energy Development Task Force. There we go. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lori.
Are you really saying that wind energy could help our economy?
Absolutely. What we've seen over the years is that we missed the IT revolution, we missed the biotech revolution, and it's clear that energy is the next revolution. And when the leadership of Cleveland looked at what aspect of energy fit our skills and what we do well, offshore wind was clearly the leader in that area.
Okay, so something to take a look at. It will create jobs, I'm assuming?
It's a demonstrated job creator. Today in Europe, over 45,000 jobs have been created. It's a new and growing industry. There's $400 billion being invested in that industry, much of it by private entities. Last year, 33 new turbine models were introduced, so that gives you a feel for
how robust the industry is.
So we've got some guidance from other places that it should be working.
Absolutely. It's moved to Asia, Korea, Japan. Large companies like Mitsubishi, Fuji, Samsung, Hyundai, all the names that are household names are moving into this industry because it's a great business.
Okay, so where would you'd be putting up a wind farm, right? So where would this farm be located?
Well, much like what was done in Europe, we would start with what's called a pilot project, and that would be 5 to 7 wind turbines approximately 7 miles from the stadium, downtown Cleveland.
Okay, would people be able to see these?
Well, we have a little exercise we have people say. You take one standard arm length, one standard thumb, and one standard thumbnail, and you hold it out, and it's about half the size of your thumbnail.
Oh, so it's
pretty
really not
small.
going to ruin the look when you're looking out over the lake.
And with our great Cleveland weather, you'd only be able to see them about 2/3 of the time.
Okay. Won't that hurt the fish and other, life out in the lake?
Well, we've worked with the European companies doing this, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Fish and Wildlife, and what has been shown clearly around the world is that it's a fish magnet. The reef effect works wonders, and we've done the avian studies to review the birds and bats. There'll most likely be tie-up places for boaters, and a lot of the sailboaters have said that will be a target for going around for the next race.
Okay.
So it really is a pretty environmentally friendly option.
So in trying to move to the next step, any downsides?
Well, the only downside is being the first mover in anything. There's a cost associated with that. And so what we have to look at is that this is coming anyway. So do we want to be behind the curve or ahead of the curve?
And I think in Cleveland, we really want to be ahead of the curve, so
it's
it becomes
about
really
time
important
that we capture the industry and we bring jobs home to this region.
Great information. Maybe wind is a natural answer to our energy questions. To get wind of Dr. Wagner's progress, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Dr. Wagner for breezing in here today.
For more information, call the Lake Erie Energy Development Corporation at 216-241-9201 or click to www.leadco.org. Next, a great program with a shameful problem.
Hi, I'm Trapper Jack at Nelson Vein Clinic, where varicose veins just fade away. Barbara is here. How long ago since the procedure?
3 weeks.
What did you notice right away after Nelson Vein
It's all
Clinic?
gone.
Pressure was gone?
Oh, it was all, yes.
Pain's gone?
Yes.
And it's covered by insurance.
That is one thing that got me here. That was a big relief. She's very good at what she does. She's terrific. You can hug her like I did.
Isn't it time you took care of your varicose veins? Call or log on to nelsonvein.com.
Did you miss a phone number or website? Then here's your second chance, because we're going to list all of that information again. And then I'll warn you about the downside of disability coverage. If you are disabled due to an illness or injury, how would you get some income to pay your bills? Thankfully, Social Security offers disability coverage, but the delays in getting cash in disabled people's hands is downright shameful, especially here in Cleveland. First, let's focus on the good news. Social Security offers a wonderful disability program if you're too young to retire with your full Social Security benefits, but you can't work due to a documented disability. Social Security provides needed monthly payments. The average is just over about $1,000 a month. It's not enough to get rich, but it certainly will help. And you'll also become eligible for Medicare coverage even before reaching age 65. But here's where a big problem comes in. For most people, the application process is miserable. Some 60% of applicants are initially denied, though many denials are reversed on appeal. And while you can start the application process yourself, you should generally get the help of a lawyer if you have to take it up on appeal. And the real shame is how long the process takes. Nationally, the waiting time from start to finish is 353 days, almost a full year. Keep in mind that's a year during which the applicant isn't working and isn't receiving Social Security disability payments. Sadly, lots of folks have exhausted bank accounts, IRAs, and other savings while their applications for disability languish. And here's the worst news of all. In Cleveland, the average waiting time is a remarkable 544 days, which is 50% longer than the national average. Why does it take so long in our own hometown? It's because the numbers of applications for disability are up, and there aren't enough judges and other employees to handle the volume. Plus, way too many applications are incorrectly denied at the outset and forced to go through the appeals process. Here's one way to try to fix the system and reduce delays. Contact your member of Congress and tell them that the disability system under Social Security is way too slow. If they hear from you, maybe we can get some badly overdue action. Social Security disability can be a lifesaver if you're ill or injured and can't work. But delays of more than a year are shameful. Let's tell our members of Congress to fix the system and speed things up. The number to call is 202-224-3121.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner & Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.budishandsolomon.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, we'll take a new look at menopause, what's hot and what's not. Then we set our sights on a picture-perfect exhibit that puts Cleveland life in the 1930s and 40s in perspective. Plus, we'll turn the page on the Cleveland Public Library's latest bookings and log on to technology that can simplify your finances. Until next week, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.